It's nice to be back live again, isn't it? It's been a long 2 years without seeing people face to face. Many of you may recognize me from past Deutsche Rohstoff-Nachts. I've been now, I think, six times? Yeah.
Even since the beginning.
Yeah. So, again, it's very nice to be back here in Stuttgart. As Jochen mentioned, I'm not only the Executive Chairman of Endeavour Silver, I am, for the next year, the President of the Silver Institute. So let me just start with silver. The Silver Institute, by the way, is a research institute. It's funded by all of the largest silver mining companies in the world: Fresnillo, Pan American, Coeur, Hecla, Endeavour. The primary goal of the Silver Institute is to conduct fundamental research on supply and demand each year and conduct special studies. For instance, last year we did a study on how much silver is consumed in an electric vehicle. I'll come back to that. And only 2 weeks ago, we launched our annual World Silver Survey. And so the data I'm about to give you is fresh off the press. But let's start from first principles. Silver is a unique metal. It's the best known natural conductor of electricity. It's the best known natural reflector of light. It's from time to time used as an industrial metal. For instance, over half of total demand is silver going into electronics. Every electronic gadget has a fine film of silver coating its electronic contacts. It also goes into the fastest growing component of silver consumption, which is solar photovoltaic cells. But silver is also a monetary metal. It's been used for millennia as money, as silver coinage. And in the new age, the new millennia, you can find that same role in the silver ETFs. So silver really is unique and different than almost every other metal. One final point, very simple point. As both Jochen and Dr. Dinning pointed out, you can't have a green economy without metals. You cannot have a green economy without copper and nickel and lithium and silver, because the electrification of our economy, relies on silver for every electronic contact. You know, I like to say that in my Android cell phone, there's approximately 0.5 gram of silver. It used to be 1.5 grams, so we've gotten very good at using less and less. But the growth of cell phones, the growth of big screen TVs, the growth of computers is such that electronic demand is now the largest component of total demand, in excess of 50%. So more than 500 million ounces of silver each year goes into electronics alone. And that's not even the fastest growing component of demand. So you cannot have a green economy without silver. And therefore, we can conclude that silver has an absolutely critical role to play in any investment portfolio. So let's go to the numbers released 2 weeks ago. When we did our 2021 review, we found that silver supply had a nice rebound from the COVID year of 2020, up 5% to just over 1 billion ounces. Demand, however, grew 19% globally to 1.1 billion ounces. And the difference is a deficit between supply and demand of over 50 million ounces. So that's why we saw in 2020 and 2021 the silver price rally. Now, it obviously rallied because gold rallied, and in fact all of the commodities rallied. But nonetheless, the fundamentals for silver support higher prices. Our outlook for 2022 is that supply will continue to rise 3%, that demand will be up 5%, and that the deficit between supply and demand will grow to 72 million ounces this year. Every aspect of demand grew significantly last year. I mentioned that electronic demand was up about 9% Total industrial fabrication was up 9%. Photovoltaics up 13%. Jewelry demand was up 21%. And investment demand, believe it or not, was up 36%. That's the demand from coins, bars, and ETFs. So all of the numbers are telling us that we're in an up cycle, a bull market for silver. And whether you look at the monetary role, wherever gold goes, silver follows, or you look at the industrial role with the electrification of the global economy, there's really only one direction for the silver price. It will have its usual ups and downs, but I think we're in for a multi-year commodity boom, and silver will be front and center in that commodity boom. So that's my comments on silver. Let's move now to Endeavour Silver. It's been over 2 years since I presented here in Europe, and I'm going to move fairly quickly. If you know me, you know I like to go fast, but I'm always available for questions, and we'll be at the booth tomorrow. So without further ado, so the usual cautionary note that I will be making some forward-looking statements. And really this slide tells you everything you need to know about Endeavour tonight. Everything else is just details. Very quickly, we are now a mid-tier silver producer. We own and operate 2 high-grade underground silver mines in Mexico. We're on track to produce between 7 and 8 million ounces of silver equivalents per year. We maintain a strong financial position with a clean balance sheet. We have minimal debt, 151 million cash at the end of the last quarter, 168 million of working capital. We have the best organic growth profile in the silver sector with not 1, not 2, but 3 projects that we propose to build over the next 6 years to more than double our production, targeting 20 million ounces a year. We have a track record, unlike most of the silver companies who, when they want to grow, they have to buy something. They buy a deposit, they buy another company. Unlike the other companies in the silver sector, we have a track record for making virgin discoveries. We make discoveries every year to expand our resources. Perhaps the best example of that is our next mine. We're now reporting 89 million ounces of silver equivalent reserves at our proposed new Terronera mine site. And last but not least, when I say equivalents, what I mean is gold, because we only produce 2 metals, silver and gold. About 60% of our revenues are silver, 40% are gold. And because of that, we have a sector-leading beta, or leverage, of our share price to the stock price, averaging, in recent weeks, 3 times the silver price. And last but not least, from time to time, we make strategic acquisitions. In January, we announced the acquisition of one of the world's largest undeveloped silver deposits located in Mexico. It's called La Pitarrilla. And the historic resource there by the prior owner, who spent $180 million defining this deposit, La Pitarrilla, contains 525 million ounces of silver. This project is now in the Endeavour pipeline, and we hope to develop it after we finish building the Terronera mine. So mine locations, we have 2 operating mines at Guanaceví and Molonitos. We have 1 immediate development project at Terronera in Jalisco State. And then we have this mix of other assets, 2 others in Mexico, La Pitarrilla and Parral, we expect to develop ourselves. Plus we have 5 exploration projects, 2 in Chile, and there's another one up in Nevada. I would be remiss if I didn't point out that Endeavour was a leader in not only our sustainability philosophy and sustainability policies, really since the inception of the company in 2003. We were one of the first mining companies in Mexico to start reporting on our sustainability efforts in 2013. So we have made sustainability part of our core business plan. We've just dusted off a new 3-year strategy, and it has 3 pillars. Basically, people, planet, and business. These are the areas where we can make a difference. Some recent highlights. We just came off an excellent quarter. First quarter, we produced 2 million ounces of silver in equivalents, well ahead of our production guidance. We continued to drill high-grade results at our largest silver mine, Guanaceví. We, as I mentioned, acquired the La Pitarrilla project in Durango. Early development work is now underway at our next mine, Terronera. We made a strategic investment in another junior company who have a very interesting copper-silver district in Colombia. And we raised some more money because Terronera is going to cost us $175 million to build. We have $150 million cash at this time, and we're working on an $80 to $100 million bank debt facility. That will be enough for us to officially start the construction at Terronera. Guanaceví produces 70% of our production. Molonitos produces 30% of our production. And our silver-gold mix is about 65% silver and 35% gold. So on to the operating mines. We'll take a quick tour. Guanaceví is our silver-rich mine. It's also our largest mine. It produces about 80% of its revenue from silver and the rest from gold. You can see that we have been successful at increasing the production over the last 5 quarters, to a little bit of a dip in Q1 where we hit a pause to catch up on our development work. This is an underground mine. And we think that's what's sustainable here is around 1.4 to 1.6 million ounces of quarterly production going forward. Our second mine, Molonitos, is actually a gold-rich mine. 80% of the revenue comes from gold, the balance from silver. And here it's a steady state mine. We are averaging about 600,000 ounces of silver equivalents each quarter. So on to our sector-leading growth profile. Our pipeline of projects, first up is Terronera. Terronera is a discovery that our exploration group made starting in 2013. And we're now in the final stages of financing the development of this project. The metal mix here is about 60% revenue from silver, 40% from gold. So, Terronera, building our largest and lowest cost mine. This will be a large underground mine, our largest, and it will single-handedly double our production and half our costs once it's up and running. It's that important to the future of the company. The reserves are hosted in a thick, high-grade vein, averaging about 400 grams of silver equivalents per ton. The metallurgy here is very simple. We're recovering in the mid 80% range of the silver and gold into a high-grade concentrate, which we then sell to smelters. And we have excellent infrastructure located 50 kilometers northeast of the resort city of Puerto Vallarta with ready road access, water, labor, and local services. Last but not least, we're not done. This is an open-ended ore body, and there's strong exploration potential here to grow the resources to 100 million ounces, 120 million ounces, etc. So here's the 100% growth profile. Once Terronera is up and running, it will add 7 million ounces of silver equivalents in the first 4 years. Some of the robust project economics. It'll have a 12-year mine life. It's going to cost $175 million to build. And using current prices, 1,800 gold, 24 silver, plus or minus, the net present value is around $280 million, generating a 30% after-tax rate of return for the 2.5-year payback. The estimated cash costs net of the gold credit are negative. In other words, the gold pays for all the costs, and there's a little bit of cash left over, and the silver is basically free. So on a cash basis, this will be one of the lowest cost mines in the entire silver universe. And even on an all-in sustaining cost basis, where we capture all of the costs, including the life of mine costs, exploration, royalties, taxes, everything, even on that basis, it will produce for barely $1 per ounce of silver. Here's how it stacks up on the cost curve. Here's all of the known primary silver deposits currently operating. And on our base case, which was at lower prices, I think it was $15.75 gold and $20 silver, you can see we had a 59-cent cash cost and a $3 all-in cost. The current prices, our cost curve is down here. So I mentioned that it will double our production and half our costs. And we've front-loaded the production, so it'll be higher grade and higher production in the first 4 years. I mentioned that it's open for exploration. We've just announced a number of exciting new discovery holes in some of these other veins that had not previously been drilled. The main reserves are located in the Terronera vein and the La Luz vein. The plant site will be here just at the end of the La Luz vein. There's a little community of Santiago de los Pinos here, and our camp is actually just outside of the town of Santiago. Our construction timeline is basically 2 years, starting from this quarter. So by the second quarter of 2024, we hope to be in commercial production. Moving now to the acquisition of Pitarrilla. It's located not far from our largest mine, Guanaceví, in the district or the state of Durango. And the previous owner spent $180 million drilling out 525 million ounces. The third project that I wanted to mention, Parral, is in another historic district in southern Chihuahua. And we have previously reported 42 million ounces of resources. Our goal this year with drilling is to get it to 60 million ounces. That's good enough for a 4 million ounce per year mine. So if you add it all up, we're producing 7 to 8 million ounces currently from Guanaceví and Molonitos. We're proposing to produce 7 million ounces for the first 4 years, 6 million over the entire mine life from Terronera. La Pitarrilla, we have no economic studies, but conceptually it should be able to support 10 million ounces plus per year. And Parral would be a smaller mine at about 4 million ounces per year. So there you have it, leveraging our cash flow from 2 operating mines into the development of what will be our largest and lowest cost mine at Terronera, and with this pipeline of projects, Parral, Pitarrilla, Brunner, Paloma, and Aida. So 180 million shares out. We currently have a market capitalization of about $650 million US. 150 million of that is actually cash. So the enterprise value of our business is barely $500 million US. Well covered by the analysts, and our leverage to silver compared to our peer group. So why invest in Endeavour? Very simply, we're a mid-tier producer who, through the development of our organic growth pipeline, intend to become the next premier senior silver producer in the group. We have, as I mentioned, compelling organic growth. We're run by an experienced management team. I'm the founder of the company in 2003. I recently took a step back to the executive chairman's role and handed the reins to my longtime associate, Dan Dixon, who's now the CEO. Strong balance sheet and great leverage. Thank you very much.